The recording crackles with age, a distant voice emerging from the static of time. It's 1940, and America is slowly healing from the Great Depression's wounds, souls searching for meaning beyond material recovery. In this spiritual hunger, a profound session unfolds, one that would remain hidden for decades. I remember that morning like it was yesterday, not 7 years ago, begins the voice, thick with a southern drawl. April 17th, 1933. I was working the rails outside of Meridian, Mississippi. Just another Monday for an ordinary man like me. The speaker, James Whitfield, was a 42-year-old railway worker when destiny intercepted his mundane existence. As Edgar slips deeper into trance, his voice changes subtly, becoming the channel through which James's story flows with increasing clarity. We were laying new track that day, storm clouds gathering, but the foreman pushed us on, lightning in the distance. I was securing a section when it happened, 11,000 volts through the wet rail. They told me later I was thrown 15 feet. In the background, someone adjusts the recording equipment. Edgar's breathing becomes rhythmic, his consciousness now fully submerged beneath the rising tide of James's memories. I felt no pain. That's what folks don't understand about dying. One moment I was there, gripping that metal rail, and the next, I was watching myself from above. My body lay smoking on the gravel, men running toward it, but I felt nothing but peace. A strange, complete peace I'd never known in life. The railway worker's clinical death lasted 30 minutes, an eternity in medical terms. No heartbeat, no respiration. By all earthly measures, James Whitfield ceased to exist, yet consciousness persisted. I wasn't alone there, floating above my body. Someone, something, was with me. Not a person as we understand it, more like light with awareness. It communicated without words. It's time to see what you've never understood. Here, Edgar's body tenses slightly, his fingers twitching as if touching something invisible to others in the room. I moved through darkness, but it wasn't frightening, more like passing through a membrane between worlds. Then I saw it, the blueprint. Lord have mercy, there's no words in any human language for what I witnessed. The blueprint, as James described it through Edgar's trance state, appeared as a vast, luminous structure, an architecture of light, containing all actions, thoughts, and consequences across time. Not linear as humans perceive, but simultaneous and interconnected. Everything was backward from how we see it on Earth. What we call success was often failure. What we call suffering was often growth. The poor man I'd pass daily on my way to work, the one missing both legs who smiled at everyone, he was radiating such power in the blueprint that it nearly blinded me. While the bank president who foreclosed on half the county during the worst years, his soul was shriveled to almost nothing. Edgar's breathing deepens as the narrative intensifies. I could see energy patterns connecting every action to 1,000 consequences, some immediate, some centuries later. I could see how a kind word spoken to a child in 1890 prevented a suicide in 1943, how a moment of greed in 1917 would cause suffering for generations. James's voice through Edgar grows more urgent, but that wasn't the most shocking part. The real revelation was that everything we believe about life's purpose is upside down. We're not here to acquire or achieve. We're here to remember who we truly are. The recording captures a long pause, filled only with the soft sound of breathing. In that blueprint, I could see that what we call life is just a tiny fragment of our existence. A classroom, not a final destination. But instead of learning, we spend our days building monuments to our forgetting. As the first chapter of James's extraordinary journey ends, Edgar's body shows subtle signs of the strain of channeling such profound experiences. The truth revealed in those 30 minutes would challenge everything humanity believed about existence itself. The being of light told me, "Now you understand why returning will be difficult. Once you've seen the blueprint, you can never unsee it." And I wept, not from sorrow, but because for the first time, everything made perfect sense. The recording session continues after a brief pause. Edgar's breathing stabilizes as he delves deeper into trance, channeling James Whitfield's extraordinary account with renewed clarity. "When I beheld the blueprint in its entirety," James continues through Edgar's voice, "I understood that everything in our earthly existence operates in reverse of cosmic truth. It was as though we've been reading life's instructions backward all along. The room remains silent except for the soft whirring of recording equipment. Outside, rain begins to fall, droplets tapping against windows like distant Morse code, a fitting backdrop to revelations that transcend ordinary reality. In this vast, luminous structure, I could see that what we perceive as separate lives are actually interconnected experiences of the same consciousness. The homeless man and the millionaire, the saint and the criminal, all are playing roles in an elaborate spiritual curriculum. Edgar's hands move slightly, as if tracing invisible patterns in the air. His facial muscles relax into an expression of profound understanding. The blueprint showed me that suffering isn't punishment, it's alignment. When souls drift from their intended path, pain serves as a compass needle pulling them back toward growth. What we call tragedies are often cosmic course corrections. James describes how he witnessed souls choosing their challenges before birth, selecting precisely the difficulties needed for their evolution. A revelation that contradicted everything he had been taught in his Southern Baptist upbringing. I saw a woman, before her birth, choosing to experience blindness because her soul needed to develop inner sight. I witnessed another selecting poverty to break attachments to material possessions from previous lifetimes of excess. These weren't punishments, they were prescriptions. The most stunning reversal concerned human relationships. Through Edgar's deepening trance, James explains how souls deliberately incarnate with those who will challenge them most severely. Your greatest enemies are your most important teachers. I watch souls making sacred agreements to hurt each other in specific ways, not from malice but from profound love. The husband who abandons his family is fulfilling a pre-birth contract to teach resilience. The friend who betrays your trust is delivering exactly the lesson your soul requested. Edgar's body tenses momentarily, then releases with a deep exhale as the narrative continues. The blueprint revealed that time itself doesn't flow as we perceive it. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously in this grand design. Every choice ever made or yet to be made creates ripples across what we perceive as centuries. I could see how my great-grandfather's decision to show kindness to a stranger in 1867 directly influenced my own spiritual awakening in 1933. James describes how during his 30 minutes of clinical death, he witnessed something he called the reverse law of creation. On Earth, we believe we must do to have, and have to be. Get money to have security, to be happy. But, in the blueprint, I saw the opposite truth. We must first be, which determines what we do, which creates what we have. Everything begins with being, with aligning our consciousness with who we truly are. The most profound inversion concerned love and fear. James explains through Edgar's channeling that humanity has these fundamentally backward. We treat fear as reality and love as illusion, when the opposite is true. Fear is the dream. Love is the only reality. In the blueprint, I could see that love wasn't just an emotion, but the actual substance of creation, the material from which consciousness itself is woven. Edgar shifts slightly in his chair, his closed eyelids fluttering as if watching invisible scenes unfold. I was shown that what we call death is actually awakening, and what we call life is a kind of sleep. We're dreaming this human experience, forgetting our true nature to fully immerse in the illusion of separation. James's voice grows quieter now, contemplative. The hardest truth to accept was seeing how desperately we cling to our suffering, how we wrap our identities around our wounds instead of allowing them to heal. In the blueprint, I could see souls extending their pain for lifetimes because they couldn't surrender the story they'd built around it. As Chapter 2 draws to a close, James shares how the blueprint revealed humanity's greatest misunderstanding. We believe we're human beings occasionally having spiritual experiences, when in truth, we're spiritual beings temporarily having a human experience. This single reversal of perspective changes everything. It's the key that unlocks all other wisdom. Edgar's breathing deepens once more as the profound channeling continues to flow through him, carrying revelations that would remain sealed away from public knowledge for nearly half a century. The recording continues after technicians change the reel. Edgar's trance deepens, his consciousness fully surrendered to the channeling process. The room has grown still, those present sensing they are witnessing something extraordinary, a glimpse behind the veil that separates worlds. The being of light guided me deeper into the blueprint, James continues through Edgar's voice, now taking on a rhythmic, almost hypnotic quality. We approached what appeared to be the central chamber, a vast sphere of pulsating energy where all life paths intersected. Here, I was shown the true purpose of human existence. Rain continues outside, its steady rhythm punctuating the profound revelations flowing through the entranced psychic. The blueprint revealed that Earth is not our home, it's our classroom. But unlike ordinary schools, we arrive having forgotten that we enrolled. This forgetting is intentional, not accidental. We choose to forget our divine nature to fully immerse in the human experience. Edgar's fingers trace symbols in the air as James describes how souls deliberately incarnate into amnesia. This forgetting serves a crucial purpose in spiritual evolution. Imagine trying to learn courage if you remembered you were immortal, James explains, or developing compassion while fully aware that suffering is temporary. The veil of forgetting creates the conditions necessary for authentic growth. The blueprint showed James that human life is structured as a curriculum with specific lessons for each soul. But humanity has fundamentally misunderstood the nature of this spiritual education. We've mistaken the school for a competition. We arrive and immediately begin competing for grades, for recognition, for material success, never realizing that the only true measure of achievement is how much we've expanded our capacity to love. Edgar's breathing changes subtly as James describes the most shocking revelation, the true identity of the teachers. Everyone you encounter is your teacher, especially those who cause you pain. The drunk driver who killed my brother in 29 was fulfilling an agreement made between our souls before birth. My greatest spiritual teacher came disguised as my greatest tragedy. In the blueprint, James witnessed souls reviewing their lives after death, but not as he expected. They didn't focus on achievements or accumulations. Instead, they measured growth through moments of choice. Each decision point creates a branching of potential realities. The blueprint contained all possible choices and their consequences simultaneously. I could see my life as a series of forks in the road, each decision either aligning me with my soul's purpose or taking me further from it. Edgar shifts slightly in his chair as James describes how the blueprint revealed the backward nature of time itself. We perceive time moving from past to future, but in reality, the future pulls the past into being. Our higher self exists outside of time, calling to us from what we perceive as ahead. What we call intuition is actually the voice of our completed self, guiding us toward wholeness. The most profound reversal concerned the nature of reality itself. The physical world we perceive as solid is actually fluid and responsive to consciousness. The thoughts and beliefs we consider private are actually creative forces shaping our experience. We believe we're responding to an external world, when in truth, we're projecting an internal one. Edgar's hands now rest palms upward on his knees, a posture of receptivity as James continues. In the blueprint, I could see how collective human consciousness creates shared realities. Wars, depressions, cultural movements all emanate from the collective mind. We are co-creators who have forgotten we are creating. James describes how the blueprint revealed the backward nature of spiritual seeking itself. We journey outward looking for divinity, when the blueprint showed that the divine dwells within. We climb mountains, build temples, follow gurus, searching everywhere except the one place where God can be found, in the silence of our own being. The recording captures a profound silence as Edgar's breathing slows further, the channel now fully open. The most beautiful truth I witnessed was that all souls eventually find their way home. The blueprint contained no eternal punishment, only eternal opportunity. Even the most damaged souls ultimately return to wholeness, though for some, the journey spans what we would perceive as eons. James explains how he was shown that human language itself operates backward to cosmic truth. We use words to describe reality, believing language follows experience. But the blueprint revealed that words create experience. The labels and stories we attach to events determine how we perceive them. Change the story, and you change reality itself. As Chapter 3 draws to a close, James shares perhaps the most radical reversal of all. We believe enlightenment requires adding something: knowledge, practices, experiences. But the blueprint showed me that awakening is not about gaining anything. It's about losing everything that isn't truly you. Enlightenment is not acquisition, but subtraction, the removal of all that obscures your original nature. Edgar's face reflects profound peace as he channels the railway worker's culminating insight from this section of his journey beyond death. The ultimate backward truth is this: you are not a human being seeking spiritual experience. You are spiritual consciousness having a temporary human adventure. Remember this, and everything else falls into place. The final recording reel begins after a respectful silence. Edgar's trance has reached its deepest point, his physical form merely a vessel for the profound wisdom flowing through. Those present in the room sit motionless, aware they are witnessing a transmission that transcends ordinary understanding. After I comprehended the blueprint's central revelations, James continues through Edgar's voice, now resonating with a quiet authority, the being of light showed me what few returning souls are permitted to see: the pattern of return. Outside, the rain has stopped. Sunlight breaks through clouds, casting prismatic patterns across the room, as if the physical world itself acknowledges the sacred nature of what's being revealed. The pattern of return is the most difficult aspect to explain in human language, James says. It showed how souls transition back into physical existence after glimpsing ultimate reality. Most who have near-death experiences are allowed only brief glimpses of the other side, enough to transform their perspective, but not enough to make earthly existence unbearable. Edgar's hands rest palms up, receptive to cosmic currents flowing through him as James describes the final stage of his journey. The being of light told me, "You have seen more than most are permitted to remember. This creates both opportunity and challenge upon your return." Then I was shown why most souls who glimpse the blueprint must forget most of what they've witnessed. According to James, complete recall of the cosmic design would make ordinary human life impossible to endure. The contrast between absolute truth and the necessary illusions of physical existence would create unbearable cognitive dissonance. I watched souls returning to Earth after death, how they were lovingly prepared for re-entry by gradually re-accepting the limitations of physical consciousness. Like divers slowly acclimating to pressure changes, souls must readjust to the density of material existence. Edgar's breathing becomes shallower as James recounts the most profound realization about human suffering. The blueprint revealed that pain serves as the primary catalyst for awakening, not because suffering is necessary, but because comfort rarely prompts questioning. When life flows smoothly, we seldom interrogate its deeper purpose. It's in our darkest moments that we finally ask, "Why am I here? What does this mean?" James describes how he was shown his own future after returning to his body, the challenges he would face in integrating cosmic awareness with everyday existence. The being of light prepared me. You will remember enough to transform your life, but not so much that you cannot live it. The glimpse you've been granted is both gift and burden. Some will call you mad, others will seek your wisdom. Trust that both responses serve the greater design. Then came the moment of decision, whether to return to physical life or continue into deeper spiritual realms. I was given a choice that wasn't really a choice. I could see in the blueprint that my soul had already decided to return, that my experience was meant to be shared, even if only with a few who were ready to hear it. My death was never meant to be permanent. Edgar's body tenses slightly as James describes the difficult process of re-entering his physical form. Returning was like forcing myself into a garment several sizes too small. The density, the limitation, the sheer heaviness of physical existence was shocking after experiencing the expansiveness of pure consciousness. For weeks after reviving, I felt like I was suffocating in my own body. The railway worker's account reaches its most personal dimension as he describes the aftermath. My wife thought I'd gone insane. My pastor suggested demonic influence. The company doctor prescribed sedatives. Only my youngest daughter, just 7 years old, accepted my experience without question. "Of course you saw heaven, Daddy," she said. "I remember it too, but I'm forgetting more every day." Edgar shifts in his chair as James reveals how the blueprint changed his understanding of his life's purpose. "Before my death, I measured success by what I could acquire. After witnessing the blueprint, I understood that the only meaningful achievement is remembrance, gradually recovering the divine awareness we deliberately set aside at birth. In the recording's final minutes, James offers what he considers the most practical wisdom gleaned from his experience. The blueprint showed that consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. When we change our perception, we literally change the world we experience. This isn't metaphorical, but actual. The universe is responsive to awareness in ways science has yet to discover. Edgar's voice takes on a quality of universal compassion as James shares his final insight. Everything is backward until you remember who you truly are. Then, suddenly, everything is perfectly aligned. The ultimate revelation isn't about gaining new information. It's about recognizing what your soul has always known. As the session draws to a close, James offers a simple practice for those seeking to glimpse the blueprint without clinical death. Each night before sleep, ask yourself, who am I beyond all temporary identities? Each morning upon waking, before the world rushes in, remember, I am not this body or these circumstances. I am the awareness experiencing them. This daily remembrance begins to thin the veil between worlds. Edgar slowly begins to emerge from trance as James delivers his final message. The blueprint awaits your recognition. It exists within you, not as distant cosmic architecture, but as the very foundation of your being. You need not die to glimpse it. You need only remember what you have always been. The recording ends with Edgar's gentle return to ordinary consciousness, unaware of the profound wisdom that had flowed through him, a transmission that would remain hidden for decades until its rediscovery in 1987, when humanity might finally be ready to hear its backward truth. If this glimpse into the blueprint of life resonated with your soul, remember, this is only the beginning of your awakening. Subscribe now to continue this spiritual exploration together, and never miss our upcoming revelations about consciousness, near-death experiences, and the true nature of reality. Comment below with your own experiences of moments when everything seemed backward in your life. What spiritual insights have challenged your perception of reality? Your story may be exactly what another seeker needs to hear on their path. The wisdom shared today was hidden for decades for a reason. It appears when the student is ready. Are you ready for more? Join our spiritual family by hitting that subscribe button now.